Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the rule well and teach well, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Desire preaching His truth in all honesty and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Shalom. This is the brother Ramla coming at you with a quick video through the spirit, power, and mercy of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, this to be edifying, man. All right, so I want to be speaking on that we at the end of Esau, man. Esau is done. All right, but I'm going into John chapter 8, verse 44, because what Yahweh Shai is saying here, is referring to, he was mainly speaking to the Pharisees. All right, because they was trying to accuse a woman of adultery, but we all have sinned, man. That's the main message the Lord was trying to say at that time, man. We all are, guilty or transgressed the law, so y'all not innocent according to the law. All right, but I like what he told them in verse 44. He said, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speak of a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." So he's saying how they are coming in the spirit of Esau. And also Revelation, it speaks of how Esau is the accuser of thy brethren. So, that's how, Esau and mind warped Jake, where they have Jake want to take out their own, man. They actually doing the works of Esau in that matter. All right. Cause that's what Esau want us at. Esau want us to take each other out. All right, but Yahweh Shai was saying they are of their father the devil, of Esau. All right, so Esau was a murderer from the beginning, coming back from the lineage of Cain. All right, so Esau is in the same spirit of Cain. So that's through there was an indicator of a spiritual indicator of who this man is, man. All right, the first murderer, man. All right, and from the beginning. So, and there's no truth in him. So, in abode not in truth, because there is no truth in him. So there's no truth in Esau, man. All right, so he speak lies. All right, so he speak his own. He speak with a forked tongue. All right, very deceptive. Like, look what's going on now. Got Trump, blatantly, lying, man. You can see their lies plain as day, man. This shit funny, man. Because Esau's like, that guy you went to school with that lie about everything, man. Even the little shit. Even shit they don't need to lie about, man. That's how Esau is, man. His kingdom is clearly going down, but they're going to be in denial through their pride, or just going to lie to the end, man. To the nukes fall, man. They're going to keep lying to the very end. Watch. All right. So let me get Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. Right, it's Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10 says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron resteth, so is his wickedness." So Esau is our enemy. He's our adversary. All right, in this point of time. All right, well, all throughout history, but, even greater in this time, man, because Revelation 12 got to come down with great wrath on the tribes, man. You're already doing it with the northern kingdom, but soon he's going to do it very hard on the southern kingdom. All right, but it's going to intensify the closer we get to the end. All right, so never trust thine enemy, because as iron resteth, so does his wickedness. Because you can wipe rest away off, if an item, or if metal not resting that bad, but it's settling in, you can sort of wipe it away, but it's gonna always come back. All right, so that's how this double wickedness is. That's why, in the grand scheme of things, we gotta completely get rid of him, because if this devil remain on the earth, wickedness in some form or fashion is gonna come back into the earth. So that's why we gotta take this devil out. All right, when he get out of power and he serves 1,000 years of captivity, he gotta go. All right, verse 11, "Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. See, it's not going to be altogether wiped away. He ain't going to be able to, Esau ain't going to be able to be made clean, man. Ain't going to be able to wipe himself clean and get a redo. No. That's why he's not going to rule with us in the kingdom, man, because he can't get right, man. You know, even though he seemed to humble himself and crouch down, you know, you still got to beware of him, man, because he'll stab you in the back, man. All right, that's what happened when they came out of them caves, man. They started seeing and learning the ways of war, how men are, and they caught on, and then they start, you know, robbing, pillaging, killing, doing all these different things, and took over eventually. All right. So let me end off with this scripture. All right. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4 says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. All right. So his soul is not upright, you know, lifted up. You know, it's not lifted up. What's like it? To behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. So this devil is not a righteous man. All right. So in the time at the end of Esau with second Esdras, man, let me get that real quick. Second Esdras 6. All right. All right, so this second Esdras chapter 6, verse 9 says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, so we're at the end of Esau, man. He's coming to an end, man. He lying, he getting caught in his lies, you know, those that know. But he gonna keep lying to the very end till he's out of power, man. He gonna keep on lying, man. To the point he gonna set up the Karagma system to lie, be like, oh, you know, everything okay, the system's still running, but this system gone, man. When the Karagma come, man, this shit is done, man. It's already done, especially through the spirit, man. But when that Karagma come, you're gonna really know it's done. All right, he can't prolong his kingdom. The Lord gave him bounds that he cannot pass. So he's almost at that bound, you know. Hey, this is coming to the 250th year of America. All right, which, you know, roughly civilizations or certain kingdoms only had 250 years to rule till they went down. So hey, this place spiritually at that mark. You know, it's physically about to be at the mark, but hey, this place spiritually is long time overdue of going down and being destroyed, such as Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, so the time is nigh, man. It's high time to wake up out of sleep. Our salvation is nearer than we believe. All right, so I hope this is edifying and uplifting. And with that being said, shalom.